Hi everybody, Tenacious Earl here. As promised, we're going to do another broadcast here today. This one's going to be some baseball. I'm going to try to get through this game between San Diego and the New York Mets at Citi Field. This is actually the second game of a doubleheader. In Game 1, San Diego defeated the Mets 3-1. Behind Andrew Cashner got the win there for the Padres in that one. The loss went to Steven Matz. And in this one, it's going to be Cesar Vargas getting a spot start, as this is a doubleheader. It makes it kind of tough when you got to go with kind of cut into that rotation. And with the Padres themselves, the rotation's been a little bit injury-riddled. So, yeah, they got that going for them. Now, Harvey's going to be on the mound for the Mets, Matt Harvey. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and get this camera turned around and see if I can get this view set up for you. So we'll be right back with the start of this one. The Padres 11-12 on the season. The Mets 14-9. So be right back. Okay, so I'm going to try a little different view on this one. We'll see how this works out. I don't know how it's going to work out so much when we go to the bottom of the inning, but let's try it and see how this all goes. So, again, this is the second half of doubleheader, so the lineups are going to be a little bit of there's going to be some second stringer in here, so to speak, because you want to try and manage the guys. Now, you've got bench players, and when you have a doubleheader, you'd kind of like to use some of your bench to just keep guys fresh that are maybe a little bit tired. So we're going to try that here. So for the Padres, they go with Upton Jr. again in left, John Jay in center, and Kemp in right. Those are the first three in the lineup. Then Will Myers at first, Yannervis Solardi at second base, Brett Wallace third base, Christian Betancourt catching, Alexi Ramirez shortstop, and Vargas on the mound. So let's get go. Oh, we need to see what the weather's like here in New York for the night game. Oh, and it's a 20. Well, I'm not going to bother with the rain here this time. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go with it. So it's going to be zeros, bad weather. Zeros for singles, nines for home runs. They're trying to squeeze this game in since it's the last game of the Padres series, and it's in the way this league is set up, it's kind of tough to do multiple. There's not a lot of days off to be able to make up games. So they're going to try to get this one in, but the weather's not good. So Upton Jr. facing Matt Harvey. Just for the sake of stats, 3 ERA so far. He's only started one game. He had an injury in his first game, so that's where things stand for him. So it's going to be Upton Jr. Upton Jr. so far, batting .253. He does have 2 home runs and 9 runs batted in here. We're 13 games in, so 23 games in, excuse me. So here's Upton Jr. Against a righty, 3-9, strikes him out. And a good start for the Mets. John Jay. that against a lefty, a 4-8, and he's going to punch one out into left field. Goes the other way with it. That is a single for Jay. So Harvey and Plawecki are +1. Jay, with one out, he's going to try and see if he can. He needs a sum of the blue dice. He needs that to add up to 2, which is really rare. They're not holding him on either, and it's a 12, so it's the opposite. So he could still go for it, but it would be a 1 to 8, 1 to 7 chance. So he's going to have to hang tight, and it's going to be Matt Kemp. They're not holding him on, so Kemp against Harvey. And the pitch. 3-11. Well, that's got a chance. It's only 1 to 2, though. Ballpark correction. Oh, and it's a 1. So that's going to be a single, and it's just going to sneak through. And Jay got a bad read on it, so he's going to have to hold up at second. So it brings up Will Myers. Myers only batting 182, a really rough start to the season for him. Does have 6 home runs, though, so room for improvement there. I'm going to bring up the... So here is Myers with first and second and 1 out. And you can't see that, but I'll push it down here. That's a 3-5. They're going to load the bases. That's a walk. And did I probably didn't roll. Might as well do it. Yeah, I guess I didn't roll for the runners. But all right, so bases are loaded with 1 out. And they're going to play with the infield double play depth, hoping to get out of this inning. So Solarte, that's a 1-8. And that's going to be popped up on the infield and caught at second base by Neil Walker. And that's a big out. That should give them a decent chance here with Wallace at the plate to hopefully, they have a decent chance of getting out of this inning. So 2 outs. Bags juiced, and here is Wallace. And the pitch, 1-7 strikes him out, and the side is retired. No runs, 2 hits, 3 left, and a great chance there for the Padres. And it's left there. So let's see if I can do this. So, one moment, as I'm going to answer a couple questions here. I see that there's a couple that have come up, so I'd like to give you an opportunity to see what I have to say about them. So, ID Jester asks if this is a Mets replay, and it is not. This is my 10-team league, so it's not a full season replay. It's 54 games, so. And the 10 teams each play 54 games. So he asks what I use to keep stats. I do use Stratomatic PC as my software to tabulate the stats. It's one of the nice things about it. If you can buy the new version of the PC game when you buy your set for the next season. So like if you bought 2018 season this spring, you could add in the PC game as well and kind of do it as a bundle. And when you buy this, but you can buy add-on seasons for your old versions, I suppose, from older. And you should be able to input in through the software. So, and demos. And demos of playing Game 7 of the Streamers Championship there later today. So check that out. If any of you have cards in the game, I know I do. I'm not sure how I've been doing. I haven't had a lot of time to watch the games yet, but I'm probably going to binge watch them here in the very near future. So let's get to the Mets half of the first here. Conforto in left, then Reynolds at short. Neil Walker at second. Lucas Duda will be batting cleanup and playing first. And then you've got Curtis Granderson in right, Eric Campbell third base, Plawecki catching, Diaz center, giving Lagares the evening off, and Harvey. Lagares actually started in the afternoon game. And Harvey on the mound batting ninth, and here's Conforto against Cesar Vargas, who I'm just going to take a quick... I want to look at the stats for Vargas because he actually pitched pretty well in his one other start. He's 1-0 with a 1.29 ERA. One start. So we'll see if he has what it takes here to continue this or if he gets eaten up by the statistical gods. So here is Conforto. And that's a ballpark single, and we know that there's zeros on the ballpark singles. Actually, you probably can't see that there, but there it is. Zeros, so that is a liner caught by Solarte playing second today, and that's one out. So Matt Reynolds, that is a 6-9, batting from the right. That'll be a fly ball to right field, caught by Kemp, and that'll be the second out, and it'll be Neil Walker. That is a 3-8, and that will be a strikeout. So Vargas continues a hot start to the season. Unfortunately, he had 7 starts, so really this is his last start. It's not going to zoom very well, so if I put it down here, maybe you can see 7 starts. But so if you divide that by 3, he should only receive 2 starts in our simulation here, which is unfortunate because he's pitched pretty well so far. And let's see, his ERA was 5.03 for real. So another quick question here from Demos. Did I do my own polygon type schedule? I sort of did, but then I'm trying to... It's been a couple years since I set it up, and so I got some help from Sports Time Machine, Utah Mike, to do some of the schedule stuff. And so I can't remember if I ended up using the randomized schedule from Strat PC or if I used my, as you say, polygon method, which I've shown in previous videos that it's not too difficult, but it can be a little bit complicated the first time you try it. So we're going to the second, and Betancourt will be leading off here for the Padres. Righty 5-4, fly ball to center field. So it's going to be Diaz, a 3 range, but an 18, he will easily get to that, and as long as it's in the middle, which it is, that's 8 and 4 is 12, so between the numbers of 8 and 12, for outfielders, if they're under 10, I believe it is, it's an out. So if your roll is, if it's outside of that, you might want to check, but there's some guides you can come up with that kind of like help you speed through your error checks. So that's one out. Alexei Ramirez. And that's going to be a pop-up to Reynolds playing short. Asdrubal Cabrera is injured. The Mets have quite a few injuries at the moment, so I would have to talk you through all of them, and I'm just not prepared to do that at the moment, so I just want to keep moving along here with Vargas. So it's 6-9. Well, that would be a, let's see, Vargas is a right-handed hitter, so he is not normal power, so it's a 1-6 single, and that is a 7, so we will, since it's not a home run check, we don't do the robbing check. That is just a liner caught by it'll be Reynolds there as well. So that ends the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors there. That makes sense. If it's in a normal home run setting like that, with either a ballpark home run or one that's a normal home run with a split with a fly ball, you can check if it's been robbed, if they're like right at the seam, either one, like the end of the out range, or the end of the home run range, or the beginning of the out range. If it's on one of those two, you can check to see if the fielder robbed it. So due to the plate, and that is going to be a fly ball to left field, and that will be Upton Jr. making the catch. So Granderson moved him down to 5 out of the leadoff spot. Hasn't been quite as effective as of late. 5-9, batting from the left side. Well, that's a strikeout. 5-8 would have been a hit there. And then 4-8 and 4-9 and 6-7 are all good for Vargas, or bad for Vargas. So the other thing about a 6-7 for Vargas is it would lead to a check of injury. So here is Campbell, and a 3-10. He draws a walk, so that's going to leave it up to Plawecki. And potential wild pitch. Vargas, though, has a 0 rating. And 1-9, he strikes him out. So the third strikeout for Vargas. No runs, no hits, 1 left. Yeah. So I just see David commented about Strat gets its fair share of negative publicity from the community. Whether it's warranted or not, I will leave up to you to decide. I think it's tough when you're a company with some cachet to remain extremely committed to service. There's a 5-9 against a righty. That's a grounder to Reynolds, 3E19, 3-20. That means he has a pretty easy time getting to that one. And then it's an 8 on an E19. I'm going to check because it's real. It should still be, but I want to be doubly sure. 19, yes, no problem there. So John J. And lefty 5-7. That's going to be another base hit for him. He'll be 2 for 2. 1-17 a double, and that is going to find its way into the gap. And now with 1 out, it's going to be Matt Kemp. .45 righty. That's a grounder to third base. That if it would have been a single, that would have been a double play to get him out of the inning. Instead, he'll look the runner back, throw to first, and Campbell does get Kemp, but it's going to bring up Myers with Jay still in scoring position. And Myers is a clutch. It's good clutch, so a 3-9 here would get him a run. That's a 4-5 on the righty again. That's another ground at third base, and that will end the inning. So still no score. Boom, 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 boom. No kiss cam, though. We're not doing that. So, Diaz trying to get the Mets their first hit of the game. Lefty 4-4, grounder to Ramirez, 4E22. 4 and 6, that is going to be a base hit. That will be a single for Diaz and a 13 on an E22. Let's check that. No error. And I'm going to stand up here because I sat down for the other video and get a little get a little weird here. So I'm also going to get myself a drink. And there we go. And it will be of the fun variety. Hops. Okay. Well, so one out would be Matt Harvey up for the first time. And there's a 5-8. Well, there is your 5-8. He's batting from the right side. He's not a normal power guy. So this would be a 16-20 double, 1-15 single. And I believe that is with 2 stars. So a single, and it will be with 2 stars, and that's going to be first and third, nobody out for the Mets. And I want to doubly check that. That doesn't always happen when you have guys on. Bear with me as I double check. I'm pretty sure, but oh boy, where are we? Where are we? Pretty sure. Oh, where is your... Should be right here somewhere, hey? They, Is that it? Maybe that's it. Nope. Sorry, a little visit to the mound here. That's the one thing about this rule book that is kind of tough, is when you're actually looking for one particular thing, it can be difficult to find at times, and this is one of them that with weak power, player may not hit home runs in this situation. It's going to be single 2 stars. So yes, I was right. So first and third, nobody out. Apologies for the delay. So Conforto, the Padres are going to play double play. They'll let the run score to get 2 outs and to clear the bases. That's a 3-7, and that is going to be a double play. It will score a run. That's going to be a 4-6-3. No RBI for Conforto, but the Mets do get a 1-0 lead out of it. And so now with 2 outs, it's going to bring up Matt Reynolds. Oh wait, nobody's on base. I don't need to roll that. And righty 4-10. Ballpark singles are 0, so that will be a liner to shortstop Ramirez. 1-0 Mets going to the 4th. Hey, Herb. Well, baseball demos, I was doing the do before, right here, but now I'm doing the souped up do. A little more bitter, a little more good. Okay, we're in the 4th, so Vargas finally gives up another earned run, and it's going to be Harvey trying to protect this lead, and it'll be Solarte leading off. That's a 6-7 batting from the left side. So Harvey's a 6-8 injury, guys. 6-7 won't be a problem except for the fact that it's a walk. So first hitter aboard. And Solarte probably not looking to run here. It'll be Brett Wallace. And that's a 4-7 against a lefty. That's a single, and they're going to get first and third, nobody out. Solarte holds up at third. And it's going to bring up Christian Betancourt. Mets will play with the infield back. They'll concede the tying run. And that's going to be a strikeout. So that sets up even better for them if they can get, either if they get Ramirez on a double play or if they could get him maybe a shallow fly or something and then get to the pitcher spot. So Alexei Ramirez. That's a 5-7 against a righty. Oh, that's going to score a run. 5-7 against a righty. That's a 1-7 double. And that is a 6. So Ramirez brings in Solarte from third. That's going to tie the ball game. And Wallace will have to hold up at third base to not get a good jump off of that. And it's going to be Vargas coming up. Pitcher's hitting card number 1 with 1 out and runners at second and third. So 1-1. That's another 5-7 batting from the right. So that's going to bring in 2 more runs. It'll be 3-1. And that's going to be a single. So that's 2 runs batted in for Vargas, and he can do very little wrong here. Oh, there's a potential wild pitch for Harvey, 1-9. 15 will not lead to that. 5-4 righty. That's a fly ball to center field. De Aza. 3 range, 6 on the die. Might be a base hit. We'll look at it here, and it is a single with 2 stars, so the dice being kind to the Padres. Any air? Ooh, and that's a 17. And Diaz is an E6 with a 17. No error, but a single, and that's going to move Vargas to third base. And so 4 hits in the inning, first and third again, and now the Mets are going to have to play with the infield in. They will come home with this if they can. So here's John Jay. The 6-8. That's another injury roll for Harvey. So against a lefty, and that's more trouble. It's going to be at least a double and could be a triple for John Jay. It's a 20, so that is a double. That's going to score. It's going to score Vargas, and they could send Upton for sure. And with 1 out, they're not. They're going to hold him up. And so let's see what the injury for Harvey says. He was already injured this season. That's a 12. So that's 9-game injury. And he has 17 starts, so he has no upper limit. Now what's going to happen here? So end of the inning, which he's looking like he's pretty much toast here to begin with. Looking like he's getting a little crispy. So I got to write this down. Harvey. And that's going to be a 9-game. He's going to miss another start or 2. And let's see. Who is... So Reed already pitched a third of an inning. Henderson 2 innings. So they're not available. Let's see. They're going to get Logan Verrett. Or Verrett. Might be Verrett. Stirring in the pen. And he's going to try to finish out this inning. He isn't tired, but he is getting close to being having lost his stuff. So runners at second and third, and it'll be Matt Kemp at the plate. Righty-righty matchup. 2-8. They're going to play with the infield in here again. So second and third infield in with an A. So it's going to be the lead runner out. Whoa. Infield in, second and third, ground ball A. Batters out, runners hold. So that's 5-3 and the runners hold. So that's the second out. And it's going to bring up Will Myers. So he's almost out of this inning. So 2 outs and Myers at the plate. Righty 6-5. Fly ball to right, caught by Granderson, ends the inning, but 4 runs across. It's 4-1 San Diego. And they hit around. Okay, well, Verrett is pretty sure it's Verrett now that I think about it. I've had this discussion a few times on the channel. So, okay, they're probably going to try to get Harvey through the 5th inning, seeing that this is a doubleheader. Would rather not spend the whole bullpen if they don't have to. So Walker, can you get something started here? 3-9 is a strikeout. So that's a big old no. Lucas Duda. Oh wait, they can't get Harvey because he has to come out after this inning. Sorry, that's my bad. 5-11. Batting from the left. That's another strikeout. And the Grandy man. 4-8. Well, he draws a walk there. So it brings up Eric Campbell. Normal power, but not a very impressive card here. What he'd love to do is get a potential home run off of the pitcher's card. That would be helpful right now for the Mets. But a 1-7 is going to be a fly ball into center field, and that will end the inning. So, yeah, the Mets are going to have to do a little bit of roster jockeying here. Campbell made the 3rd out, so they're going to they are going to double switch here. Actually, they're not. Yes, they will. So, Verrett will be the next pitcher. So give me a second here while I check injury. So he's a 6-12. Harvey only goes 4 innings. Okay, so Verrett is going to hit in the 6 hole. Campbell is going to come out. Pitcher spot is going to move down there. And then they're going to bring in Ty Kelly. And this is in the 5th inning. Alright, so Kelly's a 3E17 and a 12 runner. Okay, and so that's how we have justified that. There we go. Little double switch. Pitcher moves to the 6 hole, and we put in Kelly into the 9 hole. Okay, so here we are with, and we got a mark that we had a pitching change. So Solarte against the new pitcher Logan Verrett. 2-7. That's going to be a potential single. 1-15, and it's a 16. That'll be a liner to Walker. And so maybe the Mets will start getting some good stuff going for them here. Wallace. That's a grounder to first, and that's going to be Duda underhanding it to Verrett, and now Betancourt 0 for 2, and he hits it on the ground. Dribbler to Reynolds. He throws to Duda, and that retires the side 1-2-3. A good inning there for Verrett. Okay, so to the bottom of the 5th inning, and Vargas still going well. It's going to be Plawecki leading off, then De Aza and Kelly. 7, 8, 9. Kevin Plawecki, 5-6 against a righty. 1-6. No, it's a ballpark home run. That's a 1-9 chance. Plawecki, though, weak power. There's going to be a single for him. Bad luck there. Could have been for a normal power guy, but Plawecki doesn't have it. So, De Aza, runner at first. That's a 1-9, and a 1-9 is a strikeout. 6 strikeouts for Vargas, and Ty Kelly in his first at bat. That's going to be a grounder to first. Myers 2-E3. This could be a double play. They weren't holding Plawecki on. 2-16. I'm pretty sure that will be a double play. It was a 16. And what about the error? E3 and 13. I think that's going to be fine. But I want to double check all of this to be sure. 2-16 is G1. That's going to be a double play ball. 13 on his E3 is no error, and that's going to retire the side. That's going to be a 3-6. Kelly's slow. We're going to say he covers as well. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. So the Mets got off to a strong start on the season, and it's kind of come to a little bit of a halt with their injuries, but it's a little troubling for them that they are running into this against the Padres, who aren't very good. So but for the Padres, it's probably as much their pitching as anything. And the pitching's been pretty good. So 1 for 2, Ramirez with a double and an RBI back in the 4th. That's a 3-4. There'll be a grounder to first. Duda, he will cover on his own. Got a little ahead of myself there. Unassisted. Okay, so Vargas still pitching just fine. He is a 5-inning rest guy, but weakness guy. 6-6 against a righty. That's a walk. So the first base runner conceded by Verrett, and now it's going to be Melvin Upton Jr. Get this down here into your view. Righty 4-7. That's another walk. John Jay First and second, 1 out. And a potential wild pitch, 1-9. That's an 18, so don't have to worry about that. So Jay, lefty 4-4, grounder to third base. So it's going to be Kelly, not Campbell. They're not holding the runners on. So he is a 3E17. 3 and 16. That is a G1. They could get the double play ball and be out of this as long as he doesn't get an error. That's an 11 on an E17. That is going to be a double play. Round the horn, 5, 4, 3. And that will be it for the top of the 6th. No runs, no hits, and only 1 left. Vargas works a walk, but then Jay hits into the double play. And we'll go to the bottom of the 6th with it still being 4-1 San Diego. But for the Mets, it is the top of the order, so at least they have that going for them right now. Of course, the top of the order, if you look at the first 5, it's they're 0 for 9 with a walk. So maybe they're due. Here's Conforto. 6-5 against a lefty. It's going to be a strikeout. So that brings up Matt Reynolds. 2-6. That's a grounder to first. There's the 2 that they needed, but the 6 is going to be Will Myers to Vargas. And now Neil Walker. Vargas has been stellar somehow. And that's a 4-6 against a switch hitter. That will be a strikeout. Against a righty, he would walk, but against a left-hander, that's a strikeout, and he is dialed in. No runs, no hits, no errors. Sounds so cliche to say it, but that's what they got going for them. So Barrett's going to get another inning here. This would be his inning of weakness. He is a 3 relief guy. So Matt Kemp. 2-8. That's a ground to third. Kelly with the strong arm gets Kemp, and that's 1 out. So Will Myers. 1-6 is going to be a pop-up that Reynolds will venture underneath and call everybody off, make the catch. Now Solarte, 2 outs. 2-7, 1-15 single chance. He missed out on this one before. This time he gets it. So a 2-out single brings up Brett Wallace, hitting from the left side, and a potential passed ball. Plawecki is a 0, so we don't have to even roll the D20 again. Here's Wallace. 4-8 against a lefty. That is trouble. It'll be a double, 7-20, or a triple. That's a 3. That's going to be a triple and score already. So 2-out hit. Whoops. Got a little aggressive there. 2-out single and then a 2-out triple scores a run. It's now 5-1. Triple for Wallace. And now the Mets are going to have to get you're going to get Hansel Robles up. Runner at third, 2 outs. Betancourt at the plate. 2-8, that's a fly ball to left. Lucky, a 2-7 would have been a clutch single. But instead, Conforto is able to range underneath it and make the play. But 5-1 as they get a run on 2 hits, both with 2 outs. And the Padres extend their lead, looking to sweep this doubleheader. Okay, so Vargas is probably all right for this inning. He's only given up a hit and a walk in the last 3 innings. But the Padres will get some. Hi, Manny. Padres are going to get some action going here. I got to see. They used Rodney. Well, they used Buckner, Moore, and Rodney in Game 1 of this. So they're going to get Villanueva. Actually, no. They're going to get up Quackenbush and Brad Hand, the lefty. So a righty and a lefty. And so Duda will lead off here. Got to get my window back up so I can make sure everything's in the right spot. Okay. Top of the lineup here. The first 4 batters are 0 for 11. Can Duda change that here? 2-11. No, that's a fly ball to right. Almost a ballpark home run situation, but that's going to be an out. Granderson. 112 is a walk. And the pitcher spot now. So the Mets have Robles up. Runner on. They're gonna turn to James Loney. And the Padres are going to stick with Vargas for the time being. So runner at first. It's Granderson. 1 out. .38, 1-6 home run, 7-20 double. Has Loney done it here and gotten them within 2? No, it's going to be a double. Let's see, with 1 out, they're going to send Granderson, and the Padres are going to throw into third base to prevent Loney from reaching third. And so they're going to concede the run. So that's an RBI for Loney. And so now it's 5-2. That will bring up Plawecki with a runner at second. And they're going to give Vargas 1 more batter here. 1-8. That's a strikeout. So that's 2 outs. And they're going to let him pitch to Diaza here with 2 outs. Runner at second. And then they'll probably turn to Brad Hand if he can't get Diaza out. So 2-way, runner at second. 3-8 strikes him out. That will end the inning. So 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. Okay, so Mets are going to bring in Robles. Verrett went 3 innings. 5-2 Padres on top here at Citi Field. And it will be Ramirez the first to face Robles. Okay, so he catches it. So Vargas will be pinch hit for. And they're going to have Ryan Schimpf take this opportunity here. .36 strikes out. And that brings up Melvin Upton Jr. 5-8 against the righty. That's going to be a 2-out double. Padres have done some damage with 2 outs. Going to bring up John Jay. And the Mets will let Robles pitch to him. 1-6 against a righty. That is trouble, and it would have been a trouble whether they brought in a lefty or not. 1-19, run right back. And Jay ends up at second. So now Kemp with 2 outs and a potential for a balk. Robles does not have a balk rating, but this is not does not look like it's going to be the Mets' day. 6-7 righty. More trouble. This is going to score another run for the Mets. And another long inning here for the Padres. They already had one where they batted 9, and now they're up to their 7th guy. Here's Solarte. First and second. Robles 2. Not get their money's worth here today. Yeah, they're going to use a 7-inning performance. A really good showing for him. For San Diego, Hand is a 0 guy. And he is going to hit. He's going to pitch from hit in the 9 hole. So here's Hand against lefty against Ty Kelly. 2-12, line out to short plus injury. They already have injuries galore. So let's see. Ty Kelly he definitely doesn't have any kind of limiting factor. That's a 16. He's going to have a 6-game injury. And can he finish the game? 5 or 6 would mean he can finish. He does get to finish the game at least. So bottom of the 8th, 1 out. It's going to be Conforto now, facing Hand. 4-7 against the lefties, a strikeout. That brings up Matt, lefty against righty. So another 1-2-3 inning for. So the Mets are going to go back to their pen. They're going to bring in Blevins. To pitch the 9th. They're going to let. Actually, nix that. Haven't done it yet. I'm gonna make a different move here. They didn't use Familia in the first game, and they have a day off after this, so they're going to go ahead and use Juris Familia. Okay, so Wallace, then Betancourt, then Ramirez against Juris Familia. 4-8 lefty strikes him out. So with 1 out, it'll be Christian Betancourt. 5-5 against a righty. That is a strikeout. And now Alexei Ramirez. Righty 5-3 grounder back to Familia 4E0. Can he get to it? He does. E0 means that is a play made. That retires the side. All right, the Mets need 5 runs to tie, 6 to win. And they're going to have to do it against Brad Hand, as he's going to come in for a second inning of work. They will get Fernando Rodney warming up just in case. So it'll be Neil Walker, bottom of the 9th, and they need 5 to tie. Righty 4-6 strikes him out. 1 out. Lucas Duda, they're going to, let's see. They're going to pinch hit for Duda. Home run, off chance at a home run is really not going to help them much. They're going to have Lagares pinch hit here in the 9th. Try and get something started here. So against Brad Hand, righty against lefty. 1-9. There was the home run we were talking about. Not going to do them much good. They probably would just as soon have the double 1-15 homer. It's gone. Juan Lagares, a pinch hit home run, makes it 7-3. So still some life left in these Mets. Here's Granderson, lefty against lefty. Let's see, they still have Flores and Rivera on the bench. Hold on. I don't know why I did it this way. I should have put this stuff down here. Here you go. My bad. So Walker was the strikeout. You can see Hand's card is pretty tough. Lagares here was the 1-9, which is a split home run chance. So here is Granderson. .64 against a lefty is going to be a grounder to second. Fielded by Solardi. He throws to first for the second out, and now is the pitcher's spot. They're going to bring in Flores. This is going to be 9, and this is going to be 6C. So here's Flores with nobody on and 2 outs. And 2-7. Oh no! 2-7 is a pop up to short. It will be caught, and that will end it. Man, 2-6, 2-8. Either of those is good, but 2-7 is the last out, and that's going to be it for the Mets. They lose the doubleheader, get swept by a final score of San Diego 7, Mets 3. And, Harvey gets out-dueled, gives up 4 runs in the 4th inning, gets injured in the process, and that's going to be your final here. The victory goes to Cesar Vargas. It's going to be his last start. It's been amazing how well he has pitched. Shows you kind of the small statistical sample potential that you can see if you only have a short amount of time with a card. You only have two starts here. In real life, he had 7, but again, we have to divide by 3 because this is a third of a season to get approximate. Now, the only way I'd use Vargas again would be if the Padres were at a complete dearth as far as their starting pitching goes, and you need to use someone else. But they do have a couple of other starting pitchers who have not yet seen action. So I'm going to put the 1 here. That's a 7-3 is your final. So I'm going to go ahead and get this here going. And yeah, so no save there. It was not a save situation. Now I've got a couple questions here from Manny. So Manny wonders if he always has to do a double switch. So I might as well just tag it along here. I don't know how long this video has been going, but that's okay. No, you could choose to never use double switch if you don't want to. I mean, the double switch is a strategic move which in the very near future may get basically turned into being obsolete if they do away with the pitcher hitting. Then you probably won't do. Well, you won't do a double switch in terms of the pitcher go. You could always do a double. You could do any double switch. I mean, you could. In this game here, we had Conforto in left. Well, let's say Duda was at first base. And you had Campbell at third. You could have brought in. Let's say Plawecki at catcher. You could brought in. Let's see, Loney to play first at some point and put him in where Plawecki was hitting. And the catcher, so let's say you got to the end of the inning and it was the 6th batter and you wanted Loney to lead off the next inning instead of Plawecki, who's not a very good hitter. You could put Loney in because he's probably, I think he's also a better defensive first baseman. You could put him in for Plawecki play him at first and then replace Duda with Rene Rivera as the catcher, and then you can move the catcher kind of to the sort of the end of the lineup that way. I mean, the reason you do it with a pitcher most of the time is because you're planning to use that pitcher for more than one inning and you don't want to have to sacrifice a high-quality hitter. Okay? So if you have the pitcher come... Like, let's say you have to... like in our case here today. We had Harvey, who was... let's see. I knew I wanted to use Logan Verrett for at least 2 innings and possibly 3. Chances are, depending on what you need to do is you need to look at where your lineup stands. So they finished the 4th. Then, so the Mets, when they ended the 4th, this is where they had to bring out Harvey. They had just had Eric Campbell hit, which was the 6 hole. So they finished up the 6. So let's say you didn't double switch and you just straight switch Verrett for Matt Harvey. Well, then Verrett's spot is going to come up 3rd in the next inning, in the bottom of the 5th, right? 6, then you have 7, 8, 9. If you have to bring up Verrett, if you wanted to pinch hit for him because he's probably not going to be a very good hitter. I didn't even look at his statistics. What is he? He's a number 1 pitcher's hitting card. So unless he's a good hitter, you're probably going to want to pinch hit for him. And if you do that, then you lose him as a pitcher. Then you got to bring in another pitcher. And if your bullpen's a little bit taxed, which I would say being a doubleheader, the Mets was so-so. It probably wasn't as bad but it wasn't as bad as I had indicated, probably. But still, I think you're at a point where rather than have to deal with another pinch hitter, what you're basically doing is you're kind of like, it's kind of like a loan. You're loaning out that pinch hitter ahead of time, or it's like selling short a stock. You know that you're knowing that you're going to use a pinch hitter. What you'd like to do is, let's put it this way. Let's say it's like wanting to use the pinch hitter before you actually bring the pitcher in. That's kind of what it is. In this case, it's like, I know that I don't want to have to pinch hit for Verrett. I'd rather, but I would like to at some point. So instead, I'm just going to put the pinch hitter in ahead of time, and that way I get to put Verrett. Now, the other thing that's kind of tough is, let's say that you end the inning with a pretty good hitter. Then you're probably bringing that pretty good hitter out for the rest of the game. You definitely are if you double switch. So it's and the other thing that you're doing, like in this case we had Granderson hitting fifth. He's not the greatest power hitter, but let's say you had I don't know, let's say you had Granderson hitting fourth for some reason, or Walker hitting fourth, and Duda hitting fifth. In real baseball, you're going to lose protection for that. They might intentionally walk to get the pitcher in there. You know what I mean? So there are some negatives to the strategy. If you've got guys on second and third and 2 outs, and you have a chance to bring up Lucas Duda later on to try and hit, like let's say from the 5 hole, if he were there, second and third, 2 outs. The pitcher might say, I'm going to walk Duda intentionally, put him on first, take the bat out of his hand, and bring up the pitcher spot, and it's going to force you to either say, I'm going to remove the pitcher that I have in there for a pinch hitter, or I'm going to have to let that pitcher hit. So there's that kind of stuff, too, that can go into the strategy. But sometimes you can get creative from another standpoint, and I think I've talked about this before, but you could move a pitcher you only intended to use for 1 inning and get that pitcher spot into a different spot. Especially if you wanted a better defender in the field. You could say, I'm going to move my pitcher spot up to number 2 in the lineup because he just ended the inning. Or no, let's say to number 3. Let's say number 2 ended the inning. See, those are kind of tough, though, because a lot of times your 3, 4, 5 hitters are going to be your best hitters, so taking them out. I just got a splinter, too, off this table. Did I get it out? Need some tweezers. I think I got it. Well, it's not very often you catch a splinter and you can actually pull it out before it actually gets driven further into your hand. So I would say 90% of your pitching moves are going to be straight swaps. You're going to bring in a pitcher and have him replace the pitcher because you just, from the 6th inning on, you're probably resigning yourself to 1 inning per pitcher probably. Unless you're big time in the lead or big time behind, you're probably going to be going to those 1 inning guys who are dominant, trying to get to your closer. So in that case, there's not a whole lot of benefit from doing it. Like I said, the more you double switch, the more you move that power hitter, you move the crappy hitter into a spot in the lineup where they're kind of protecting or not protecting a power hitter. So, there's some advantage and disadvantage. But if you're having to get to your bullpen in the 3rd or 4th, 5th inning, and you're going to try to hit a long reliever, then you're probably going to do it. You want to try and set that long reliever up to have a chance to go 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 innings. That would be if you're willing to hit, let him hit. So, in any regard, there's one more game for this game day of TBL. That is the Pirates and the Angels. Not sure I'm going to do that, but I also have the golf that I did a video earlier on that I'm looking to spin out there here relatively soon. So, I see something sticking out. Is that a sticker? I don't know what that is. I think that's just a plastic protective thing. So I might have another splinter in there too. But anyway, as always, if everybody says subscribe and like and blah blah blah. I mean, if you subscribe to our channel, that's great. I appreciate it. Tabletop Earl does as well. I'm just going to try and keep things moving along here. Get games in. Monday and Tuesday probably not going to happen so much. Maybe I'll try to sneak one Wednesday, potentially Thursday, but I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on most of the week. But Monday and Tuesday I know are not so great. So anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in here. Padres sweep a doubleheader, and the Mets end up 14-10, which is still not bad. They're still well in the playoff picture. But they're going to be looking to turn it around when they face the Pirates on the road. I thought they had a day off. They don't, but that's okay. Familia will be rested and ready to go tomorrow. The Padres, they do get the day off before going home, and they'll meet the New York Yankees there at Petco. So till then, keep rolling and see you soon. If you have any questions about the way things are going or any other things about Strat, leave them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Thanks a lot and see you soon.